Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reaction Shots for September of the Apocalypse, as we were just saying, as Tokyo Slim said. We are joined, of course, by Tokyo Slim. Hello. Patron saint of Reaction Shots.
Good evening.
And Michael P. Huber.
What's up, Tokyo Slim?
Co-host.
Not much.
Sweet.
It was just my birthday a couple weeks ago. Other than that,
Nice. Me too. 17th.
Happy birthday.
I'm 40.
You're 40?
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm
I
getting
hit
there.
33. I hit 33.
You're only 33?
33.
You're a sweet
Wait.
summer's child.
34? 33.
I'm actually not sure how old I am.
If I was born in 87, am I 33?
Math. This is not a math podcast.
Yeah, this is a movie podcast. Unless it's frame rates, I don't know what you're talking about. This month we are talking about Nicolas Cage. We will hear from patrons what their favorite Nicolas Cage movies are, performances, and I asked for fun facts about Nicolas Cage with bonus points for citation for the source of the fact, and many people did oblige. Also, the three of us, we don't know each other's yet, but at the end of the podcast, we will bestow upon each other our individual top 10s, or I think 15 in your case, he said, Tokyo Slim.
I have a top 15. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm glad we're doing it at the end. I do have a confession to make. I did not prepare any quotes for today. I ran out.
That's okay. Morgan Mahala did furnish us with a game.
Oh.
So we will have a game at the end too. So that'll be good. But first, before we jump into Les Topiques, we must do what have you liked lately? Tokyo Slim, have you liked anything lately?
I've been watching a lot of stuff lately because there's not much else to do. I saw the new Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Which I thought was delightful. I have, there's like minor issues I have with it, which like every other movie, but it was a very fun, it was a cute movie. I liked it.
I agree completely. You could pick it apart, but that's true of the entire Bill and Ted franchise. And like,
I think so much time has passed. It was just really jarring for me. And also like in between 2 and this, we've got John Wick and like all these other stuff that like changes the way that you view Keanu, his like face, he's gone from it a little harder to get back into him being like this naive, kind of bumbling, but kind-hearted dummy. And like,
yeah, dude, it's John Wick now.
I know. Yeah. It
seemed like he had a little trouble getting back into it too. Like his performance felt a little stiff, weirdly, and it's the oldest he's ever looked. Which I mean is fine. He's not aged for 500 years. Like it's bound to happen eventually.
He's like 60 or something, right?
Yeah. Well, if not thousands of years old.
Right.
We've seen the photographic evidence.
Yeah, both him and Nick Cage.
Yeah. But I thought Bill and Ted 3 was on my list too, which is why I'm piping in now. But I loved it. Yeah, it just nailed the attitude of it. Like totally. It's not high art. It's just like feel good, dumb fun, and that's all it needed to be. And I thought it was good. Anything else you liked lately?
I watched a lot of Nick Cage, just preparing for this stuff I hadn't seen in a while. Stuff I'd only seen once that like maybe I didn't really like. I went back and rewatched Snake Eyes. Somebody in the comments, I don't remember who it was, but somebody in comments was like, Snake Eyes is my favorite.
Yeah.
And I remember not liking it, and we had a little discussion in the comments section about it. And I was like, I'll rewatch it before reaction shots. Watch it this afternoon.
That's TEF.
There you go. I rewatched it this afternoon. While it is not on my list of favorite 15s, it is much more enjoyable than I remember it being.
Okay. Because that's one I remember not liking too. So I need to rewatch it, I guess. It's
kind of a Rashomon-esque. It has different perspectives of like flashbacks of like what happened during this event that it kind of throws at you, and each one kind of adds a new little piece to the puzzle, so you like kind of put it together. My main criticism of the movie is that it shows you the stuff that it's about to tell you in flashbacks before it tells you in flashbacks sometimes. So like, like who the bad guy is before the kind of big like flashback reveal, and everybody's like really surprised about it. You're not surprised because
you're like, I already knew this.
I knew this already. Like that's my biggest gripe with the movie. But the cinematography and the way the camera's set up is there's a really long single shot.
The shot above I remember the shot above the all the rooms where it's like a cross section of. I remember that distinctly. Hey, wait a minute. What are we doing? This is on topic. This is on topic discussion. We can't talk about this yet.
But that's what I watched. So I watched that today, and just letting everybody know, it's all right.
Anything non-Nicolas Cage that you've liked recently?
Trying to think of what else I watched.
The show doesn't have many rules, but this is the one rule.
Yeah, save
I'm going to have to pass. Then I think.
All right.
Mostly just been watching Nick Cage movies. If I remember something else, I'll chime in later.
This part's always stressful for me because I always figure like there's something it always feels like I'm forgetting something because I'm always like, I know I watched something else that I liked. Huber, what have you liked lately?
Dude, Altered Carbon, man.
Season
really?
1 is great.
Dude,
it was just canceled.
I know. Well, Beth had watched it a while back. So she like wanted to rewatch it. She loves rewatching things with me that I haven't seen. And just because it got canceled, I was like, God damn it. Should have supported it when it was out.
Yeah.
Really good show, dude. Just like that hard sci-fi. That really hard shit. 1. Yep. Yeah, season 2. No Joel Kinnaman hurts,
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie's awesome, but he doesn't have that edge. He doesn't have that danger, Joel Kinnaman has that like unhinged, gonna like go berserk in a second, whereas Anthony Mackie plays it a little more reserved, a little more calm. I just love Anthony Mackie, like such a jolly dude. So I'm not feeling the danger from him.
There's always the issue too of two characters playing the same role, and kind of like the way they do it is different, so it doesn't really translate as well. Like,
yeah,
I kind of felt like it could have been a separate person. I know that's not the way the story goes, but like, I wasn't feeling that they were the same person for a lot of the story. A lot of like there's like mannerisms and stuff that I think could have been done better, and
totally
that kind of stuff. But as far as just like world building and
crazy good science fiction show,
very good,
top tier. Highly recommend season 1. Like just watch season 1. Like even canceled, whatever. Like season 1 is its own.
It's its own arc. You can just watch it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I started it. I never finished it. I gotta finish it.
It's a really slow start. Watching it with Beth, I was like, dude, no wonder people bailed out because like there's no stakes for a minute.
Yeah.
Like it takes a couple episodes and it's like, okay, now similar with The Boys, which I started season 2.
Oh yeah, that was the one I was forgetting. Yeah, I watched the first 3 of season 2. Yeah.
The first couple episodes are like pretty chill, and then finally it's like, okay, now we have real stakes. I'm fully invested.
Did they put 3 out at the same time? Is that what they did?
Yeah, 3 at once.
Okay.
And then every Friday, there's like 8. Going to be 8 total. So I'm liking The Boys. It was a little slower start because season 1 had the shock value,
Yeah.
We're now season 2. You
didn't see the blood coming in season 1.
So now season 2 doesn't have exactly. So season 2 doesn't have that, surprise.
Still pretty shocking. Some pretty shocking violence in The Boys season 2 still.
For sure.
Pretty wild.
One of the things was totally uncalled for. I won't spoil it. Like there's something in the first 2 episodes. I was like, can we just not do this?
I remember one of them being like, whoa, but I don't remember what it was now.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And then High Score.
Oh yeah.
The video game documentary. I've seen nothing but like disrespect for this show. I don't understand it. The representation is really good for a video game documentary. And I learned a lot of things. Like it's a really easy watch. 6 episodes. They range from like 40 to 50 minutes. Really good arc from like early days of the arcades and like Pac-Man all the way to it ends with 3D games like Doom. I highly recommend it. Again, I've seen nothing but weird negativity towards it. I really don't understand why. But I thought it was a really good watch. Every time I bring it up, people are like scoffing. Like, ha, ha.
Weird.
Yeah, a lot of
People are like, oh, I heard the art is like redundant because they use like 8-bit art on some things. So it's like, okay, yeah.
Oh no,
8-bit art. Or like, oh, I heard it's like really like surface level. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm not a know-it-all, so I learned some things. Like, shit, dude.
Yeah, I love you going after these people.
Yeah, like I back this show hard. I don't understand the hate. It's like a mainstream video game documentary on Netflix. Really cool. Made me nostalgic for all the video games. Made me just love video games. Like, what's the problem?
I haven't seen it yet, but I have heard good things about it. So
good. Okay.
Maybe the people who you were just listening to just don't understand.
I don't know, Tokyo Slim. I heard that the art is redundant, and it's pretty surface level.
I think that comment is redundant.
Yeah.
And surface level.
Anything else, Hubie?
I expect more from critiques of my video game media.
Yeah, right?
Next reaction shots, I'll be fully caught up in the Vampire Diaries cinematic universe.
Oh, good.
So I'll be given a good 10-minute deep dive. Be ready, Ian.
Okay, great. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, I watched Bill and Ted 3. I watched a movie called Vivarium. It's garbage. Don't watch it. It thinks it's deeper than it is. That one's surface level, and the art is redundant, literally. But Sophia and I can't remember why, watched the first 10 minutes of the first episode of Gossip Girl, and then the last episode, most of the last episode of Gossip Girl, because I was like, who's Gossip Girl? And then I Googled it and found out, and then we were like, let's watch the last episode, and then we watched it.
Hell yeah.
It was the most absurd. That show is awful.
No, Blair Waldorf, one of the greatest TV characters of all time. I will back it till the day I die. Blair Waldorf.
I knew that you would be a Gossip Girl stan, dude. I just knew it.
Yep, I love it. I am Team Waldorf for life.
Love it. I recently rewatched. I jumped back in and watched a couple of episodes of The Next Generation and The X-Files. And they're still great. I watched
just random ones.
I watched Disaster because Red Letter Media had done their top 10 or top 5s of the Next Generation. So I watched Disaster because I couldn't remember. I've seen it, but I couldn't remember it well. It's a fun app. But I've been watching the two that I wanted to talk about most. I watched Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle and The Next Level.
Nice.
Appropriately big National Treasure vibes, kind of. Like, they just are like fun adventure movies, and I loved them.
I never saw the second one.
It's fine.
Good. Yes.
It's not maybe as good as the first, but it's like basically the same thing, so it doesn't matter.
Cranked that movie out.
Oh my god.
Dude. They looked like Ubisoft on that.
Yeah.
Like, that sequel just dropped.
It was like the next year or 2 years later, I think. Yeah, it was
I think a lot of that has to do with like just scheduling The Rock. Like you get what you get,
Yeah.
Dude is working 24/7.
You cash in while you got him.
Well, and having a movie that films in Hawaii, I'm sure is a perk, is a nice perk. I think I might have been in Hawaii while they were filming that, because we were on like a thing, and they said like over there is where they're filming a Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie or something, and it might have been that one. I don't know.
Nice.
And then I've been
Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, it may have been Hobbs and Shaw, actually. I think it might have been Hobbs and Shaw. I'd have to figure out what year I was there, but I don't remember how to think. So also, I've been watching Lovecraft Country. Have you guys been watching that?
I haven't started it.
I've heard both good and bad things about that show, so I haven't delved into it yet. But
it's a very interesting show to me because, without giving too much away, I like it. I don't love it. I want to love it. I guess it's just different from what I wanted it to be, but I don't know what I wanted it to be. But it's a very strange thing because it's like pseudo-episodic, pseudo-serialized. Storyline kind of carries through, but every episode has like a totally different vibe, and I guess that's intentional. I guess it's like they're trying to do like a serialized anthology show, kinda, where like the characters and their situation is a through line, obviously, and like they're dealing with the same stuff, but like each episode is like a different thing, and it makes it feel like it's moving at like 1 billion miles an hour, because several times you're like, well, this will be the bad guy of the season, and then it's like, well, okay, never mind. And it's just like, I don't know, it's a weird show, but there's a lot in it to like. So, but it's definitely very pulpy, and this sort of like super heavy pulp mixed with some really serious subject matter sometimes is like a little like whiplash, but I don't know. All in all, I think I like it. I think I'll probably look back on it and like it more once I see the full picture. I don't know.
It's on my list to watch. I just don't usually watch serialized shows until they're all done and I can binge them. I did remember something else I've been watching though. I did watch, I think season 4 of Lucifer on Netflix.
Oh.
Which is, I think, not a current season, but like an older, like maybe the second to current season or something. But yeah, I don't know really why I started watching. It was one of those shows I was just like cooking and I was like, I'm going to put something on. And it just was like first up in the queue. So I was like, all right, go for it. And
had you seen seasons 1 through 3?
I believe I watched seasons 1 and 2 on a very long airplane ride.
That's an incredibly long airplane ride.
Yeah, or maybe it was 2 airplane rides. I don't know. It was like, I don't know. It was probably like 4 years ago, something like that. It's been a while. And I may not have seen the whole thing, but yeah, I'm like familiar with the concept of the show. It's,
one of several Vertigo character spin-offs, I think. It's Vertigo, which was the imprint of DC. Because I've been listening to the audiobook of Sandman, and Lucifer and Constantine like show up in it, and the Justice League shows up, kind of, which I forgot about.
Oh, I think I remember why I started watching it. I started watching it because of the Arrowverse. Because he shows up in Arrowverse.
Oh, really?
Like during a crossover, and I was like, I think I've seen the show. I'll check it out again sometime or whatever. And then
recently rewatched the Keanu Reeves Constantine. That movie's a hoot, man.
It is.
I like that movie.
It is. That's, I think, an underrated gem. I don't know if you can say that, but like,
I remember everyone hating it when it came out. I saw it in theaters, and I remember thinking it was like fine, but rewatching it now, I had a much deeper appreciation for it, I guess. I was like, yeah, this is a pretty fun movie. Not high art, obviously, but let's talk about some high art, why don't we? Let's talk about Nicolas Cage. The man, the legend, the pachinko spokesperson.
That's right.
He knows the whole alphabet dramatically. And he's just
never misfiled anything.
Never misfiled anything, and he's got amazing hair. Whether or not it's his, who knows? On your screen, it's a bird. He's always a blast. Invalid. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't argue with somebody whose hair was a bird. You just couldn't.
Impossible.
But yeah, I guess we'll begin the way we always begin, because I asked all the patrons what their favorite Nicolas Cage movies are. And usually they tick off the big boxes. We actually have some pretty glaring omissions. One person brought up one of my favorites, I think.
Glaring omissions will happen with somebody with such a broad
106
films.
106 movies as an actor, according to IMDb. Good stuff. All right, Michelle Jackson. Favorite Nicolas Cage movie? Gotta be National Treasure 2. Honestly, I've probably seen 25 movies in my lifetime, and at least a third of them are Nicolas Cage films. I don't know why that is. I love that. I love National Treasure 1 and 2. Unabashedly, unashamedly, unironically. I think those movies are fantastic, fun adventures.
Agreed.
Yes.
I keep like kind of drawing the connection. It's like Goonies for adults,
Yeah.
Like, it's a fun adventure. There's like gadgets that are like, old gadgets that you have to like your puzzles or whatever, it's a puzzle game in a movie form. It
so is like it scratches the itch of Indiana Jones or Uncharted, but in just like a zany or lighthearted way, It's like Sahara had similar vibes, and the Mummy, the first Mummy.
Yeah.
And Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and The Next Level. What were you gonna say?
Love you, Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude.
Shout out, of course, to Brendan Fraser.
Brad Ellis will see any movie if Brendan Fraser's in it. He's like, I'm in, no matter what.
That's awesome. I haven't watched that O.J. Simpson thing that he was in. He was in that, right? Or he was in something.
Versus...
Yeah, was that him?
Was he in that? I think
he was in something.
Actually.
Yeah.
Right.
David Schwimmer was in it.
Yeah, it was a good show.
I think that was
really good. I think he might have been in it.
Otherwise, we're thinking of something else. Tell us in the comments.
He's in something. I've seen people versus OJ. I can't even tell you.
Nah. Oh yeah, I've got a bone to pick with Roku. By the way,
Roku.
I like Roku. It's my favorite interface, but they're dicking around on this HBO Max thing, and it's pissing me off. Settle your dumb squabble with HBO, Roku. Whatever it is. I'm tired of it.
Roku or is it HBO Max dicking around?
I don't know if HBO Max is like a weird enterprise anyway, but like because I've been a subscriber to HBO Now, I would be grandfathered into HBO Max, but Roku doesn't have HBO Max yet, and it's stupid. I want to watch Class Action Park, damn it. For some reason, I'm very interested in watching that documentary. And I might cancel my Roku subscription and get it on my broken ass PS4. Just to try to watch that documentary. Also Raised by Wolves, I guess.
PS4 thing taken care of, man.
I'm just waiting for the PS5. It's only going to be 2 more months, and then I'll have one. So it's like whatever. Unless I get like hosed out of pre-orders or something.
Dude,
it's
going to be a crapshoot, Ian.
It's going to be a crapshoot. I'll just cuddle my 3080 if I get in on that train.
Right. If we can get in on that train.
Yeah. Day one, baby. I've got a notification set. It's like buying concert tickets. Except 6 times less expensive. Chris Snow, favorite movie, The Rock. Love his interactions with Sean Connery. Prolific bastard, Sean Connery.
Yeah,
that's my note. I added that. Chris didn't say that. It's really a buddy flick.
Let me know in detail how much of a prolific bastard Sean Connery is, and I
just
agree.
An incredible bastard.
Yeah.
But The Rock, yes, fantastic. Stanley Goodspeed.
We got green smoke. We got green smoke.
We got green smoke.
Green smoke. Green smoke. Aboard, aboard.
I will not give that order. We can just shout. I will not give. What's wrong with you, man? We can just shout The Rock quotes at each other for the rest of this episode. And I'd be happy.
Oh, good.
The listeners probably wouldn't be. But The Rock, so stupid and so fun.
Yeah.
But also, like, not a good movie. I rewatched
Criterion Collection.
A lot of these don't
disagrees. I mean, here's the thing. It's a great movie, but I rewatched it a number of years back, and it was slower than I remembered. But damn it, now I want to watch The Rock right now, though. Carla was the prom queen.
I'm like feeling old now. This is the weirdest thing.
Well, you're 33 or 34.
You ready for this? I always remember my boy in that movie. I forget his name. He's in Hard 8. Who is he? He's in Hard 8.
Give us more examples.
He's the lead in Hard 8. Hold on. He's it's
I haven't seen Hard 8.
Philip Baker Hall.
Okay.
Philip Baker Hall, when he says, I wake up like 3 times a night just to take a piss.
Oh, yeah.
I wake up in the middle of the night now, like, because I'm feeling old, to go to the restroom like multiple times. So that's my main takeaway from The Rock is that line from Philip Baker Hall. Waking up. I can relate. It's my takeaway.
Lately, I've been waking up
to the human element.
Yeah.
The human experience.
Lately, I've been waking up because it's just so damn hot in my room. And I'm like so dehydrated from sweating all night.
Also, like Michael Biehn versus Ed Harris.
Yeah, dude. That's a god tier matchup.
Yeah.
That great villain.
Casting in that movie is fantastic.
Perfect.
Ed Harris is so good in that because it's like he's one of those villains where you disagree with his methods, but you're like, I know how you got to this place. I see why you think this way. Like you're crazy.
Such a good villain, dude. Underappreciated villain.
Yeah, dude.
Never seen him on a top 10 for that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd be top
you
10,
got
but
Tony
he's damn good.
Todd, the Candyman himself, is in that movie too.
Yep, Candyman for
Oh
sure.
yeah. I've never seen Candyman.
You like how this shit works?
Have I ever told you this? I have a very strange story about Candyman. Someone described Candyman to me as a kid. Did I tell you about this?
No.
Someone described Candyman to me as a kid, but I was so young, I misunderstood because they described Candyman. They just said like he's this black man who comes and he does this stuff and he's got a hook for a hand or whatever. I thought because I was like 7 that he was like literally the color black. And then I was like a shadow. And then I was like super scared of this like shadow man. and then I told my mom about it, the Candyman and stuff. And then I told her, I was like, it's this black shadow man who comes, you know? And then she was like, well, are you like afraid of like black men now? And I was like, not like that, Mom. And I was like, because I thought I understood what she meant. Like, because she knew what the movie was. She knew that it was just a guy. But I was picturing this like monster. So she thought I was going to be afraid of that. And I was like, no, Mom, he's like a big black monster man. So that was a stupid naivete from my 7-year-old youth.
Nice.
Similar situation when I hadn't seen Blair Witch Project, but I'd had it described to me. And it was much scarier in my head. I was like tore up about it for a long time. And then I finally watched it and I was like, well, that's not so bad.
Dude, that movie scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary as hell, but I was like, that was in the time when it just came out and people thought it was like real.
Got it.
So they were like describing it to me. Anyway.
I had a lot of fun when that movie came out. I was working at the movie theater and we were up on the roof and we would drop little stick men at the entrance doors.
Oh, that's so
when people
fun.
would walk out of the theater. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of theater experience I want.
Yeah, dude.
Well done.
I loved working at movie theaters. I worked at movie theaters through high school and through college. Good stuff. The Landmark Theater in Chicago, if you're ever in Chicago, it's still there, I think. It was there a few years ago. It's at like, what? It's a landmark. It's at the top of like a spiraling mall that's like mostly empty. So the whole mall is like a ghost town. And then there's this really nice landmark at the top of it. And people in Chicago don't understand assigned seating and they hate it. Whereas out here in LA, it's like a necessity. Like if a theater doesn't have assigned seating, it causes mass pandemonium. Yeah. Anyway, Spencer from Canada, favorite film, National Treasure, hand down the best heist adventure film in the Indiana Jones space. Same feel as The Goonies, like you said. Goonies, though, is funny because Goonies is a ground floor movie to me, where it's I took for granted how much I love The Goonies, and then I've had several people tell me that they didn't watch it when they were kids, and they tried to watch it because everyone's obsessed with it, and they hated it.
Same. Yep, that's me. Do not like The Goonies.
You didn't get in on the ground floor.
Didn't get in on the ground floor. Watched it after the fact. Don't like it at all. It's a fun. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I was just like, oh, it's fine.
I was made into a social pariah for a week in elementary school because somehow I'd seen, like, I don't know if it was the Disney Channel version, but I'd seen the version that had the octopus in it, and no one at school would believe me. They all thought I was making it up, that there was an octopus, and so I became like this pariah about this octopus for a week.
Is it a director's cut?
The like home video release did not have the octopus, but they left in the line that Data says when he goes, the octopus was very scary. He says that even in the version where they cut the octopus out. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw the octopus version until like I want to say like the special edition DVD or whatever came out whenever they first put it back in.
Yeah.
Probably 10 years ago, maybe something like that.
Oh, that was the first time you'd seen it?
Yeah, the first time I ever saw it was
at all.
Not the Goonies, but like the octopus.
Oh, the octopus. Oh, yeah.
I'd heard about it. Obviously, I just had like there was nowhere to watch it.
It's very weird. It's a weird, different. It's also, while I'm syndroming out, as Hubert would say, I got a bone to pick with who was it? Bob Iger? Somebody, one of those weird Disney guys. Cut out
Bob Iger.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Cut out the song, The Love Is Gone, I think it's called, from Muppet Christmas Carol. He cut it out because he thought it was too sad, which, to be fair, it is like the saddest song ever written. But it screws up the entire emotional arc of Michael Caine in that entire movie. Like that song, seeing that breakup is what changes everything. And without it, the movie just falls apart. Whatever. That movie's great anyway. Ken Lutt's favorite film, of course, you got to put the bunny back in the box. Con Air. It was my introduction to Cage, and it never ceases to be a great time. Con Air is a
movies with perfect casting.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
So many people in that movie.
Cyrus the Virus.
The Virus, dude.
Let's go.
Steve Buscemi in that. He's so creepazoid.
Danny Trejo. You got everybody's in that.
Yeah. Con Air, dude. Define irony. A bunch of ex-cons on an airplane listening to a song by a band made famous by dying in a car or in a plane crash or something like that.
John Malkovich, one of his best performances is on. My favorite, though, have you guys seen In the Line of Fire?
No.
Clint Eastwood?
Nope.
Dude.
John Malkovich in that?
Oh my God. One of my favorite movies going up. He tries to assassinate the president, and Clint Eastwood is Secret Service. John Malkovich as the villain, it is so good. He's so good in that. That movie rules. I've been thinking about that movie a lot lately. I want to watch it again. It's been a while.
I wonder why.
One of my one of my dad loves my dad loves like political shit and like historical shit and like JFK.
You should have him watch season 2 of The Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, but In Line of Fire, I remember, is like one of his favorites. He's like watched it with him growing up. It's awesome.
What's the Dead Zone where he tries to assassinate the president? Isn't Christopher Walken in the movie?
Manchurian Candidate.
Manchurian Candidate also that. Yeah, there's a bunch.
The original
is with Christopher Walken.
Yeah. Dead Zone, yeah, and then they did a show about it. I think.
My dad's obsessed with Manchurian Candidate. He made me watch that too with Sinatra.
That's a long movie.
Parallax View. My dad loves that one too.
Does your dad like The Conversation? It's not expressly political. That's like one of my favorite movies. That movie's amazing. Ugh, The Conversation is so good, dude. Yeah, he does if he likes The Conversation. Manchurian Candidate, a little dry. Oh, yeah. That's all politics, really. It's just everything's just like a soap opera.
It is.
Con Air, though. Majestic Hair. When he comes out of the plane and the wind just blows his hair. You're just like, I don't think this is real.
Almost back there. I did make a choice.
Is there a TV behind that monitor?
There is.
What's happening over there?
Layers and like an onion, you know.
Yeah. Nick Cage. Tyler Travis' favorite is Raising Arizona, which I agree. I love Raising Arizona. That movie, though, it does the classic Coen Brothers thing where it gets like kind of sad at the end. It like builds you up with all the comedy and the feels, and then it gets like melancholy and bittersweet at the end. But it's good.
It's just good.
Do you guys like Raising Arizona?
It's been a while.
I do enjoy it. It's probably one of my favorite Coen Brothers movies. I'm not a huge fan in general, like of their entire body of work. I like some of them. I don't like some of them. But that is one of the ones I do like. And I think mostly just because, you know, like Nick Cage, Holly Hunter, and, you know, their chemistry together, and just kind of like the unpredictability of that film is pretty cool. My fiance left me. She said her fiance left her. So good. Yeah. It's funny because I love the Coen Brothers, and Raising Arizona is middle, maybe, for me, of their
middle tier
oeuvre.
It's No Country.
Oh. The most perfect film ever made besides Paddington 2.
Is No Country your number one? Or do you just think it's like a perfect movie? Because you can do that. I love doing that.
I mean,
like,
No Country...
it's not my favorite, but I know it's the best.
No Country for Old Men, I do assert, is among the closest to perfect movies that you could make, I think. Like, just like formically, every frame of that movie is 100% in their control, which I think is just, yeah, it's immaculate.
It's God tier.
It's God tier. It literally, yeah, it's yeah, and so is Paddington too, frankly.
I still have to watch that.
Same.
Dude, Paddington 2. And then watch my old easy update about how you could form an entire philosophy about combining.
That's the thing. I feel like I've already seen Paddington 2 because we've been talking about it so long.
It's great. I've never seen Paddington 1.
I think it's unnecessary.
Yeah, Paddington 2 holds together, you know? But yeah, I don't, yeah. I mean, my favorite movie is Princess Bride.
It stands alone.
Princess Bride.
You can see, if you're in the film club, you can see Huber and mine ever changing. We actually updated it recently. I updated mine recently. I changed my top 10 a little bit, added some newer movies to it. Yeah, but it goes on and on. It's like 100 movies each, but we have a top 10, I think. Varun Kachwaha says, my personal favorite Nick Cage film has to be Mandy. The aesthetics, the acting, the action, it all just combines into an LSD-fueled dreamscape that captivates from beginning to end. I acknowledge that the first third is a little slow, but I think that's necessary to really make you feel the same rage the character does throughout the film. The score by Johan Johansson, I think, unfortunately his last, was just hauntingly beautiful and really was a perfect accompaniment to the film. I'd agree with all that. I love Mandy. I think that movie is cray-cray.
It's on my October list this year.
Nice.
Have you seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Huber.
Get ready.
I know, you guys.
Oh, Huber.
You're like, dude, you're going to love that. You've told me that a couple times.
I'm amazed that you haven't watched it yet.
I know.
Oh, Huber.
Yeah, that's a little treat waiting for me.
You are in for a treat.
Do I watch that? Is it more of a beginning? Because October is a whole month of horror, but you save the hard shit for near the end, the really hard horror. Is it an early
It's
October?
not horror. I wouldn't.
It's not horror. I'd say this is a mood setter.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's start October with it. October 1st.
It's not horror, but it goes hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It goes hard in the paint, you know?
Because early October is for stuff like that, where it's not really horror genre, but it's like pretty dark, pretty intense.
I'd put it more in like it's in the ring with like Green Room.
Okay. Got it.
Except with a lot of like Beyond the Black Rainbow thrown in there, like a lot of like psycho visual stuff.
Got it.
I just remembered something else I watched recently. Shout out real quick. Sorry.
We're in the Nicolas Cage section now. You can't.
I know. But it's sort of Nicolas Cage.
All right. I'll allow it.
I just watched Love Antosha the other day. And he's he reads off pieces of the diary from Anton Yelchin's diary.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's on Canopy, free with a library card. Check it out. It's a tearjerker.
This is the first time I've heard of Canopy.
Oh, Canopy is it's excellent. Matthew Walden turned me onto it.
Oh yeah,
couple
love Matthew Walden.
Yeah. Hi,
Matthew Walden.
I forgot one too. I get to go now. I forgot one. Never Have I Ever on Netflix. This show, high school drama. You know I love my high school dramedies.
You do.
It's got some heartbreaking stuff, but it is a comedy. It's a dramedy. 20 to 30 minute episodes. Show is amazing. Amazing. Highly recommend. Highly, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Never have I ever.
Huber, you would like The End of the Fucking World on Netflix. 2 seasons.
Oh,
it's good stuff.
What's the Charlie Kaufman one that just came out?
I'm thinking of Ending Things, which I have not yet seen.
Okay. I
want to see that. I'm looking forward to that.
End of the Fucking World. I'm on that.
Yeah, End of the Fucking World is good. I am also sad to report, I was sad to see that I Am Not Okay With This got canceled, which I thought was a cute little show.
I hate when things get canceled.
Cooey! Damn you, COVID.
Damn
or whatever.
Or Netflix.
Everybody. Damn everybody.
Damn you, Netflix.
We're all damned already. Tar Gray, Con Air for his fabulous long hair alone. Absolutely. There's a follow-up to that. Oh God, what is his name?
Sick name.
He does have a hilarious name in that. Are you looking it up? Cameron Poe. That's right.
Poe, dude.
I knew it was like a punch in the face. It's like breaking your nose with the flat of your hand as a name. Cameron Poe.
The virus, dude.
People forget, dude, Dave Chappelle was in that movie.
Wait,
Dude,
what?
Ving Rhames
Oh
is
yeah,
in
he
there.
is.
John Cusack. This cast is out of control.
John Cusack is so funny. He's so weird in that. He's just like
drops his
he's
car
such
out
a
of the back- off the
yeah.
back
He's
of
such
the
like a
plane.
loser in that. He's like playing like a Paul Reiser in Aliens role.
Totally.
Powers Booth, uncredited role. Crazy.
That's how you know the cast is good, is when Powers Booth goes uncredited.
Yeah.
dude.
I love stuff like that where it's like, oh, I wonder if we could formulate an episode around that. That would take too much research. But like famous uncredited roles in movies, like where somebody's voice just like shows up. Kristen Bell in Gossip Girl, for example.
Mhm.
Zach Wojnar, XOXO. Who am I? That's one secret I'll never tell. God. Zach Wojnar, when I was a kid, one movie that was always in my VHS was Con Air. No matter what, that movie will always be a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just too close. His beautiful wispy hair, his southern accent that's all southern accents, and his nonstop butt kicking are just impossible to top. But gotta shout out to Mom and Dad, which is a delightful movie. I actually read about that recently, but I have not seen it. Have you seen that one? Mom
I
and
watched
Dad?
it a while ago. Yeah.
It's recent, right? Didn't it come out like a couple years ago?
Yeah, like 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. I missed
I
it.
might have watched it early, but I don't remember.
Ooh, special boy. Keanu La'a. Huh?
I don't remember so many things. There's too much.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
there's
nonstop.
too much. There's too much.
It's like overriding memories.
Yeah.
This is the first year I haven't watched like 300 movies in a year, too. So
Oh shit.
Well, that's because the movie theaters are gone. Yeah.
the movie theaters are gone, the film festivals aren't running, and like they're online, but like, you know, I don't have immediate access to them like I used to. So
Well, I suppose we should, whatever, a little bit of film news. The Academy is going to announced recently that they're going to change the requirements for movies to be eligible for Best Picture. And of course, a bunch of losers are freaking out because it involves like some inclusion stuff. What?
What's the new requirement?
Well, there are 4 different, this is from memory, there are 4 different categories, and they're basically like, one of them is like, it tells a story about diversity, like has diverse actors and elements and stuff in it. Or there are like 3 other ones that are like the crew is diverse, meets like certain requirements. Or one of them is like the advertising team and like the CEOs and whatever like are diverse. And it's just like, I think it's a nice initiative to ensure, you know, that it's not just all a bunch of white people doing stuff. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, whatever, do it. Force it.
You know, it's like I understand people are freaked out about, you know, trying to, you know, push diversity into movies that don't call for it. But it's not just that, you know, like
that's not it.
It's the whole industry needs to be updated, and it needs to have more actors, more people, more, you know, more technicians, more cinematographers, more directors. We can't just, you know, like, we can't just shut these people out. And they're out there, they're making movies, they're making art, and bringing them into the conversation is not a bad thing.
Right. Like you could still make 12 Angry Men or Das Boot or The Gray or whatever about a bunch of white guys, but like just have diversity behind the camera. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like it's not about just like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, injected a little bit of news in there. Eat it. Keanu La'a says National Treasure second movie lost a bit of focus to me, but the first one has a genuinely fun heist movie mixed in with some mostly true historical facts. I love the scene when their little comedic relief guy remembers that Ben Franklin invented daylight savings time, and he's like, wait a minute, I know something you guys don't know, and he like basks in it for a second. Oh, it's so cute. His performance as Ben Gates, back to the comment, His performance as Ben Gates was fun, if not simple, as he portrays an idealist fan of the good things America was built on. Jon Voight gave an even better supporting performance as his consistently exasperated father. Also, shout out to Sean Bean. Does he not die in that?
He does not die.
He doesn't die in that.
He lives.
He kind of leaves. He just leaves for the last part of the movie. Sorry, spoilers for National Treasure. Logan.
It's implied maybe that he dies eventually, as we all do.
He dies of old age after the movie.
Right.
What if they just had a cutscene
Or some other sort
after
of
credits?
misadventure.
Yeah. What if they just had an after credits bumper where it's just 70 years later and he's just in his deathbed and then he just dies? Just to put it in there.
He fell and he couldn't get up.
Yeah. Poor Sean Bean. Logan Tossy. I like that last name. I don't know how to say it. Tawse. Perfect time to ask this because I just rewatched both National Treasure movies this past week, and they are by far my favorite of his movies. Absolutely love them. I'd probably say the first one was a bit better, but both are just such a fun way to use U.S. history to create a treasure hunt. Cannot wait for the third movie, which is apparently still happening. I also recently saw Lord of War, and that was pretty good too. And I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember really liking Matchstick Men. I love Matchstick Men.
Mm-hmm.
Also, National Treasure 3, when? I've been saying it for years.
Next year.
I want it. I don't think next year. 2022 at the earliest.
It's coming out on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh.
Yo, that's the perfect holiday for National Treasure vibes.
It is.
Will we? Where the be at Thanksgiving Day? Oh God. Or Memorial Day.
I'm gonna straighten the Leaning Tower of Pizza.
Depends on what he's stealing this movie.
Or the Independence Day. Yeah. What did I say last time? He's got to straighten the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yep.
That's what. I stand by that.
So good.
I think that would be a good because it lines
so
up
good.
like a beam of light. He's like, I'm gonna straighten out the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Oh God! Just him turning to camera and saying that we got to straighten it out. Oh my God. Colt Smith, National Treasure. I mean, it's just the best. Knowing is right there too. I was singing the praises of Knowing to Sophia the other day, and then she watched it. She said it sucks.
I just rewatched it 2 days ago, and I have absolutely no memory of the first 45 minutes of that movie.
I've only seen it once still. Yeah. I remember
and then,
liking it.
Everything else was I've seen this, and I don't know why I didn't remember the beginning of the movie. I might have shown up late or something.
I remember
It's just unremarkable.
Well, I remember being really scared. The reason I haven't rewatched it, I was going to rewatch it for this, but then I didn't, because I remember there being a really scary shot of when the kid, I think, looks out the window and there's a freaky
animals
and a freaky person standing out there, right? For a second.
Yeah.
And that shit is always, my whole life has been a fear, looking out the window, in Halloween, looking out the window and somebody's just standing there, just
they really hammer into that. That happens 5 times during the movie too.
Yeah, that does happen a few times.
Different people will notice off in the distance, just the guy is just there, whatever. So
I mention it all the time. Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
Here's the opening. This is the first sentence. This is my favorite opening to an Ebert review of all time. Knowing is among the best science fiction films I've seen. Frightening, suspenseful, intelligent, and, when it needs to be, rather awesome.
Only when it needs to be. Only when it needs to be.
It's rather awesome.
Yeah. Most of the time it's not because it doesn't need to be.
Dark City, dude. It's so
well, it's Alex Proyas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Alex Proyas also did Dark City. Dark City, one of my faves. I love that movie.
I was going to say, I will say Alex Proyas is one of those directors. I will literally watch anything that guy directs, even if it sucks. Because he's original. He's original.
Yeah, because didn't it go? It went Dark City, and then I, Robot. There might be one in the middle there.
Egypt, that's what he did.
And then he did Knowing, and then he did Gods of Egypt, and Gods of Egypt was just whoopsie.
Yeah.
Is that it? He has more than that, right?
Dude, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 movies.
Oh, what are the other ones? Read them all in order.
Spirits of the Air, Gremlins of the Clouds, directorial debut. Followed by The Crow,
Oh yeah, The
Dark
Crow.
City.
Duh.
Dark City, Garage Days, iRobot, Knowing, Gods of Egypt.
So I haven't seen Garage Days or that first one or Gods of Egypt.
He did Gods of Egypt in 2016, and in 2019 he did a short film called Phobos. So he's been working.
Phobos.
He's doing things. Mm-hmm.
How could I have forgotten The Crow? I knew he did that.
Yeah.
Woof. Amateur hour over here.
Classic.
Yeah. Can't rain all the time. The Crow, dude. If you have Shudder or want to do I've touted this before, but there's a series on Shudder called Cursed Films, and they do one on The Crow, and it's really good. Serenity Now, favorite and best performance is Raising Arizona. I remember first seeing it when I was about 10 with my parents. They must have rented a VCR just to show it to my siblings and me. I've watched it many times since, and it never gets old. Yep. Tef, we talked about this before. Now we can talk about Snake Eyes.
Sorry.
My favorite movie is one that I think a lot of people didn't enjoy through conversations with people such as Tokyo Slim on Twitter. It appears that this isn't on many people's lists. That movie is Snake Eyes, and honestly, it might be his best performance as well. His portrayal of Rick Santoro, classic Nicolas Cage character name, a shady police detective, classic Nicolas Cage character role, who throughout the movie has some really deep character progression as he's caught up in something way out of his depth. He rises to the challenge perfectly, and we get to see all the crazy sides of Nick Cage in full swing throughout the movie. This movie has a great supporting cast too, with Gary Sinise, Kevin Dunn, Luis Guzman, and the very gorgeous Carla Gugino. I don't remember. Gugino, yeah. Yeah, it's weird because I remember I rented that probably on, it might have been DVD. But yeah, I remember not liking it very much. Who directed this? Is it like De Palma or
Brian
something?
De Palma.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Palma joint.
Because it had really good camera work, but I remember just like, maybe I need to see it again. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if it was one of those deals where like the script was just kind of a generic script and De Palma like wanted to spice up as much as he could, and he just like kind of, didn't go full nuts on it, or whether it was because the way the film is formatted is very interesting. They mentioned Tef mentioned Nick Cage's acting. He starts out very manic Nick Cage, kind of stereotypical Nick Cage, and he gets more and more subtle throughout the film as like his conscience grows, essentially, as he starts to piece things together and realize that like maybe he's been betrayed or maybe somebody's lying to him, and that he has a very tough decision to make, whether to like do the right thing or to just kind of do what he's always done and take the easy way out. He starts to make different decisions, and his acting changes throughout the film to like kind of reflect that. I thought that was very interesting, and it was a really good choice, I think, to have Nick Cage be the lead in that movie. I think anybody else, it would have been a way more boring film. And I think that, like you said, everybody else in that movie did really great. Gary Sinise is, really, kind of just he's a charismatic, kind of charming, like authority figure.
A Ransom-esque performance.
Yeah.
And Carla Gugino's like a baby in this movie. I haven't seen her this young in a long time. She's in, other stuff. She's in
Haywire, right?
That's
Sin City
Gina
and Sin City and what was the one where she's like handcuffed to the bed with the corpse of her husband?
Morty's somebody's game.
Yeah. It was a Stephen King.
Yeah.
Word.
Oh, yeah.
Harold's Game.
Gerald's
I'm
game.
thinking of
Gerald's Game.
Yeah. You're thinking of Gina Carano.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Whoops.
Who apparently is like a COVID denier or something now.
Wow.
Yeah.
The hell?
It's sad. There's
Lord.
She's like,
But
people
the
deserve
Snake Eyes-
to do whatever. And I'm like, no, they don't. Because we'll all die.
Jesus. Wear a fucking mask.
Yeah.
I think like the coolest part of it was like about halfway through I realized that we were doing kind of a Rashomon thing where
it's just such a badass movie to be in. The premise itself, being in a stadium for like a boxing match, it just has, dude, Snake Eyes has an electricity. And I love like, a movie that does that, like that Rashomon style, when then you're like, tracking things outside of the scene. Like, it's a fun movie.
You see like other characters that you saw from their perspective doing the thing that they were doing before for somebody else.
I gotta watch Snake Eyes again, huh? I liked De Palma. The Sisters is great. Like, I recently watched that. I think that's his debut.
Nice.
Official, not as bad as I remembered it being. Seal of approval.
The highest form of praise.
I remember.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's all right. Hey Man, Nice Shots. Good, funny name. I like that. Gone in 60 Seconds. Must have seen that one at least 20 times in my life, and I still love it. Family Man, as someone who adores Christmas, spicing it up with some Cage is just taking it to another level. Very charming movie. And Matchstick Man, very clever movie. Really well directed. Also has a great relaxed feel about it, and Nick was born to play a guy with OCD and tics. I love Matchstick Man personally. I haven't seen Family Man, but yeah, Matchstick Man, I love a good like con artist movie that's executed well. And Matchstick Man, I think is one of the good ones. It's very, very nice. Has good twists and turns.
Matchstick Man, I like flies under the radar so hard. Nobody ever talks about it. It's again a great Nicolas Cage performance. He has people have this like image in their mind of like what a Nick Cage performance is, and he actually does have quite a bit of range. He's not like, he's not like a Daniel Day-Lewis or whatever, but he's got some range. He can do things other than freak out, and he can be subtle. He can be reserved. He can be internalized. I think this Matchstick Man is like one of his more reserved, even though he's got tics and stuff in the movie, is one of his more reserved roles. And I think it's fun that Sam Rockwell gets to kind of play like almost the Nick Cage.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell's like nuts in this movie. Yeah,
and Sam Rockwell is obviously
love Sam Rockwell
to all of our hearts. He can do almost no wrong as far as movies goes. I don't know the man personally, but I'm assuming he's chill. But like,
he's all right. I don't know.
He's such a great actor, and especially in character roles. And I think more people need to see Matchstick Man.
Matchstick Man is great. And that's the thing. I mean, we've kind of danced around this, but like Nicolas Cage is an incredibly thoughtful actor. Like, I think a lot of people just think he shows up and acts crazy and then goes home and pays off his castle or IRS debt or whatever it was. And it's like, yeah, he definitely has a few of those, but like, is it GQ or something? He did a video where he talks about all his roles, and like I already knew this about him, but like he is super crazy thoughtful about all of it. Like he has intentions behind everything. And I don't know, I just think that's really cool. And a knowledge. He has like a deep knowledge of film and theater and all these kinds of things, and draws from like really surprising contexts and inspirations. And I don't know, I just think he's an interesting, very bold performer.
I think that's one of the things that people don't really understand too, is like people assume that realism equals great acting.
Right.
Realism is a type of acting. It's one of the avenues that an actor can pursue, like emotional and physical realism. But it's not like the be all end all of acting. Acting is an expression of emotion, whether it's internalized or externalized. And as far as it goes, like Hollywood and like movies and TV fell in love with realism, around James Dean and that era. Stanislavski is like the thing, everybody loves to be like as emotionally real as possible. The thing is, before that, for hundreds of years, acting was Nick Cage's thing. It was like the grand, physical emotions and exaggerated facial expressions and loudness, because in a theater, the people in the back row need to be able to tell what you were expressing as much as the people in the front row do. And in silent films, in the early silent films especially, you'll see that specific thing, because those are theater actors and not film actors. And the transition from more theater style acting to more like, something where a camera can get right up in your face and see every minute expression or torturous, look in your eye or whatever. There's a gulf there, and people have like decided that Daniel Day-Lewis bringing him up once again, like that's the best acting can be. But acting can be a multitude of different things, you know. I think that like opera and theater and, you know, animation and like all these other different formats of, you know, of media where they express these emotions are just as valid as Daniel Day-Lewis putting on, Abraham Lincoln's face. You know,
there are so many bad actors, quote unquote, that I'm just obsessed with. Like Ben McKenzie plays Jim Gordon in Gotham and the OC, and he's in the OC. He's not like an amazing actor, but like every time I watch the guy, I'm just like invested, you know? So if any actor just like pulls you, like Brendan Fraser, like same kind of thing. Like, I don't know if the guy's necessarily the best quote unquote actor, but like if you're invested in the character that they are portraying, I think they are succeeding at their job perfectly.
Well, and not only that, but like to Tokyo Slim's point as well, like take Vampire's Kiss for an example, where I believe he actually said he drew inspiration from like older silent films and stuff and Bela Lugosi and everything. And like, that's a very intentional choice. And like, nothing that he's doing in that movie is an accident. Like he looks like a crazy person. He looks like he's overacting compared to other people, but it's like, no, that's the choice. And like he and the directors and stuff, there are really good articles and videos and stuff about Vampire's Kiss. I encourage you to seek them out, but like they're doing it all on purpose. Like they're doing all of that on purpose. They're making a certain kind of movie, and it pays off if you're on board with it. It's like the movie The Guest with Dan Stevens, made by the guys who made Trick or Treat, I think.
Our Treat. I
think that's the same people, or no? They made You're Next. Maybe they made both of those.
Next,
but like, there's a Red Letter Media review about The Guest where they're talking with the writer of it, and like you come to appreciate it a lot more if you see like what they're actually going for, because the tone of The Guest on a blind watch is very strange, and Vampire's Kiss is the same way. Where if you're not on board, you're gonna fall off the train. But if you are on board, you're gonna love it.
Strap in.
Similar to the next movie Juice Mofo brings up, Bringing Out the Dead, has got to be one of my favorite Nick Cage movies, as well as one of my favorite movies, period. However, I find it interesting that people seem to think of this movie as a Scorsese film rather than a Nick Cage flick. People tend to forget that he was in this movie. It could be argued that implies it is his best important performance, as he disappeared into that role. Alternatively, perhaps it's just that we give directors more ownership of the film than the actors. Am I reading too much into it, or is Nick Cage just his least cagey? He definitely is playing a different kind of person.
Scorsese's always going to get the credit above actors. I'm sorry. It's freaking...
Yeah.
Scorsese, just like Kubrick, anyone of that echelon, it's their movie first. It is. It just is.
But Bringing Out the Dead, I've told this before on this show, but like first time I watched it, my friend and I thought it was really funny, and then for some reason we watched it again. Like either the same day or the next day, and we thought it was the saddest movie we'd ever seen. So, and those are the only two times I've ever seen it. So to this day, I have no idea what, and that was like back in high school or something. So I'm like, I don't know what that movie's tone is anymore. I don't remember. Do you have experience with that movie? Have you guys seen it?
I've seen it a couple times, but mostly back when it first came out.
Yeah.
Theatrically.
Same. Not in the theater.
It's a really interesting movie. It's based on a book, and it's a period piece of like this, this guy who was an ambulance or a EMT or whatever in Hell's Kitchen in like I think the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And it was basically like how he was just kind of like totally out of control. In how everybody's kind of out of control. So it was an interesting watch to me, and it could be like I can see kind of like whether that it could be humorous or sad depending on how you take it.
Yeah.
So I think both things are kind of valid. I think as far as like the intent of the movie, I think it's supposed to be more like bittersweet than anything else. Ving Rhames is great in that movie. John Goodman's in it. Tom Sizemore, who kind of fell out of his mind for a while. I heard he's doing better, so if that's the case, then congratulations.
I hadn't heard about that. Yeah.
Welcome back, I guess. But yeah, like drugs and alcohol and all kinds of unsavoriness happened to Tom Sizemore. But yeah, it's a weird movie because it's such a period piece, and again, having conversations with people in chat or in the comment section, like there's like obviously this doesn't represent what EMTs do or how they go about it or good medicine in any way possible. But I think that's sort of the point, is that like nobody else wanted this job, and they're the only people who were insane enough to do it at this point in time. And they were like not very good at it, and anybody they saved was kind of an accident. So in that way, it's an interesting movie, as long as you can kind of like separate yourself from like, thinking that it's representative in any way of real life, or the people who are out there saving people now. Like I don't think it's representative in that way. But dramatically it's a very fun movie.
Yeah, it's funny you said you didn't really know the tone of it. One of the first reviews is, it's hard to pin down tone. It's frighteningly original.
Yeah. Because it was the weirdest experience. I remember we laughed our asses off the first time, and then like we were bone silent and really depressed the second time.
Shit.
Kind of like Port of Call New Orleans, Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call New Orleans, where it's like there's some very strange, funny moments in that, like with lizards and stuff, and then other things that are just like shockingly disgusting. Ryan Ponder says, I like Nick Cage in National Treasure and Into the Spider-Verse. He played a great noir Spider-Man. Very true. Into the Spider-Verse is just another god-tier movie. I'm assuming it's Andre Wessels because of the comment about being dubbed in German. So tell me if I got that right. Back in high school, this is Andre Wessels. Back in high school, Nick Cage was probably my favorite movie star. No idea how often I watched Con Air and Face Off. Back then, I still watched the dubbed German versions and had less of a clue just how different the acting style was. His acting style was. I also enjoyed Gone in 60 Seconds, Family Man, and The Weatherman. Recently, I thought Frozen Ground wasn't bad. It reminded me of 8mm. And of course, both National Treasure
8mm,
movies.
I'll never watch it.
Yeah, fuck 8mm.
That movie's on my permanent blacklist. You know I love disturbing shit. Get it away from me. Too disturbing.
Yeah, I watched that one when I was in high school, and I was just like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is not fun.
No part. Yeah, I want no part of it.
Yeah, that's how I found out about snuff films and found out that I don't like the idea of snuff films.
No.
Very weird movie.
Away. Who the hell did that? That seems like a De Palma joint.
It kind of does feel like a De Palma.
What the hell?
Who directed
Schumacher, dude.
Oh yeah, it's like a weird outlier
Schumacher.
Wait, Joel Schumacher?
Joel Schumacher.
Yeah. I thought you said Paul Schumacher for a second. I was like, who?
Crazy movie, dude. Crazy.
8mm, dude. No thanks. Yeah, I remember that was like
Tokyo Slam, dude. What do you think of 8mm?
I saw it. See, this is the thing, is like I saw it at a pre-screening at our theater for, like it was, I don't know whether you did this at your theaters, but like when movies would come out like on a Friday or whatever, the Thursday night beforehand, the projectionists would usually run it through like at midnight for the staff or whatever. Yeah. I saw it during one of those events. And the only real thing I remember about it was that like, I didn't really like it there. I laughed a lot throughout all of it. I was probably really high because I was a lot back then, but like there was a guy we used to call the Machine after that, and he hated it, and that was like why we kept calling him that, because kids are cruel. And I don't remember anything about the character or like why we called him that per se, but like that's like my lone takeaway from this movie is that it kind of made me call somebody name once, and I'm not super proud of that, but that's what this movie is for me. I remember Joaquin Phoenix being in this movie.
Yeah.
I all I remember is like yellowish brown color tones, and that's all.
A lot of that.
Yeah, I remember him walking into a room that was like yellowish brown, just because of the like color timing of the movie, and that's like all.
Peter Stormare was in it too, which is also in Constantine as the devil.
The devil.
Yeah. Excellent devil.
Conrad from Sweden also left a note that saying that since my girlfriend is Norwegian, she could probably help me pronounce it, but I haven't had a chance today since I read that to talk to her on the phone. So I'm sorry, I haven't learned how to pronounce your last name yet. But favorite Nicolas Cage movie, must say Mandy, even if it's so new. The insane visuals and mood of that movie is just such a perfect fit for Cage, and it's such a great film. I agree. Now, that's all the favorites. Now we're gonna speed up a little bit. Next topic is best Nicolas Cage performance. I asked this because I thought it would be funny. But Taffy came in right off the bat with the right answer. I know it's primarily known for its memes that it's spawned, but I honestly think that Cage's best performance was Vampire's Kiss. He takes so much inspiration from old silent movies and incorporates that exaggerated style of movement and his own brand of over-the-top acting to create something completely his own. And he said it himself that his performance in Vampire's Kiss was sort of a trial run that inspired his classic craziness in Face Off. And, pardon me, who knows how many of his other iconic and insane roles came as a result of it, too. Vampire's Kiss is just a laugh riot. I love that movie.
Vampire's Kiss is... Oh, sorry.
Oh, you go.
Vampire's Kiss is really cool because it got this kind of second life as like as from being memed and having like clips of it online and stuff. You can't really get a full sense of what the movie is from that. And I know people are like, they're gonna meme what they're gonna meme, but like the context of all those like insane things that he does in that movie is that he's spiraling out of control.
He's going completely insane. Yeah,
deeply unlikable as a person. On top of that, he is not a person that you want to work for, work around, be associated with. He's a bad person
he's trash garbage. Yeah, he's awful.
Yeah. And like the difference between that and something like American Psycho, which is same time period, right? Like people there are weird people out there who like kind of idolize Patrick Bateman in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like nobody is idolizing Nick Cage's character in Vampire's Kiss. Nobody wants to be that guy. Like that was a conscious choice to like make him a despicable, loathsome person.
Yeah.
Who's also losing his fucking mind,
Yeah.
And it's cool in that context and something that you won't get from just like watching clips from little bits and pieces of the movie.
Well, there's the famous filing scene where he just screams the entire alphabet at his therapist, and like even within the movie, the therapist's reaction is like, and she's a therapist, and she's just like are exasperated with it. Right. She's just like, this guy, oh my god, like cool it, man, like yeah. It's very good. It's so
I guess what I'm saying is in context that all kind of makes more sense than like just clipped out, but clipped out is also hilarious. So it works both ways.
Plus we'll have an interesting fact later about Vampire's Kiss that I think you guys maybe know, but it will be fun. Spencer from Canada says Moonstruck they think is the best performance. First time I said, which I haven't seen. Moonstruck, I have a few huge blind spots when it comes to Nicolas Cage. I've only seen parts of or saw them long ago enough that I don't remember them, or I haven't seen Leaving Las Vegas, Wild at Heart, Moonstruck, or Peggy Sue Got Married. Like his four like big serious ones.
The acting.
The acting ones.
The ones where he acts in it, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas.
He did. I like Moonstruck specifically, I rewatched it yesterday and I was like, he won an Oscar for this, right? Like, and I went and looked at it. Like, I made a comment on Twitter and was like, went and looked it up. I was like, no, he didn't. He wasn't even nominated.
I've never even heard of that one.
Moonstruck is with Cher.
With Cher, and Cher won an Oscar for it. And I think the movie won Oscars for it. And Nick Cage was just, I think he like got a BAFTA or something, but like,
well, it's
BAFTA hype.
BAFTAs. Those are the real Oscars. But I recently watched Witches of Eastwick and I loved it. This got me wanting to watch Moonstruck.
Moonstruck is a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine. I think I never watched it just because, like, I remember my mom like had the VHS or something, and I always thought it was just some like romance movie, and so I was like never interested as a kid, and then I just never got around to it.
It's interesting because like a lot of comparisons between it and are drawn between it and opera, and it's like it's very kind of like subconsciously about death and like the decay of relationships and stuff, and it's really, I think you would enjoy it a lot.
Okay,
recommend.
Nice. But to continue Spencer's comment, the more that I've watched that movie, I feel that everyone's performances are actually so incredible, especially Nick Cage. His monologue when he first meets Cher's character is amazing, and he was always meant to be a one-handed Italian baker. Max, his shame Turman, Lord of War, is surprisingly good performance from Nick. Honestly, anytime he gets to play someone dead inside, he kills it. That said, the opening 11 minutes of Raising Arizona are the high point of human filmmaking. Both good points. Logan Taus, again, I haven't seen a ton of his movies, but I can't definitively say what his best performance is, but I think he did a really fantastic job in Kick-Ass. I don't really see him as Nick Cage in that movie, which is sometimes hard with him, but for that one, it's kind of important. And Tyler Travis, first mention of this movie, I do believe, Adaptation.
There it is.
Which I definitely think is probably among his strongest performances. Leaving Las Vegas probably in there too.
Maybe his two strongest performances.
Yeah. Both brothers in that are just so good. And the movie itself, oh god, Adaptation is so good. So good.
Good. So good.
How the movie shifts tone when the other brothers start, whatever, spoilers, but Adaptation, dude.
Oh my god, I love that movie.
Pitch perfect movie. That's another one that's like verges on perfection, I'd say.
I think it's weird too that that's one of the movies that I most closely associate I think like Nick Cage's kind of attempt at method.
Yeah.
And it like saying like, oh, he can't do method or whatever. He's only like broad strokes. That's him doing method, and he pulls it off so well. In
a certain sense, he only does method. Like
right.
All of his acting stuff is so precise. Which
is a freaking 10 out of 10.
Oh my god, yeah. And Meryl Streep, of course. Just like, ugh.
Who?
Yeah, who's that? Cold Smith, Raising Arizona, Leaving Las Vegas, and The Rock are the classic best, and I really love the madness of Mandy and The Color Out of Space. Color Out of Space, I love cosmic horror, and it's really hard to do good cosmic horror movies. I still haven't seen Mouth of Madness, but like there hasn't been a good cosmic horror movie I've seen that like does it right. Let Guillermo do it.
Let Guillermo do it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. In the Mouth of Madness is, I don't want to say it's in my top 10 movies of all time, but it is.
Whoa.
It is a fantastic cosmic horror movie. It is like
the
standard. So if you haven't seen that,
I know I want to.
That's the one. Watch that.
Sam Neill, right?
Definitely.
I love Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
I was scarred by Event Horizon. What? We all talked at the same time.
We all said a different Sam Neill movie.
I was just saying that I was scarred by Event Horizon as a kid.
Yeah, it's like freaky reflective eyes, right?
Lawrence Fishburne in that movie.
Like ruined my life. Like not even joking.
Yeah.
Ken Lutz.
Scarred a generation for sure.
Yeah. I could have watched. I was at a friend's house. I should have watched Money Talks. It was like for some reason down between those two movies. I regret it to this day. Ken Lutz.
That's a bold choice.
It's a weird pairing, but I don't know if that's like just the things that were on demand or something. It was like the pay-per-view. I don't know. Ken Lutz.
Dictated by the wine you had, obviously.
Well, we were like young. Another tough one. but I'll go with Face Off. It's probably my favorite on the wall of performance he's done. Oh, off the wall performance. Face Off is such a bizarre movie, dude. Oh my god, I love that mask. Zach Oceanar, there's a moment in Kick Network Access Storage in the build-up before his final battle, where he's seen putting on eye makeup in the mirror. His character Big Daddy is based on various Batman portrayals, and Batman actors usually wear black makeup when under the cowl. It's like putting on war paint while acknowledging the absurdity, the deliberateness of dressing up to go out and beat up bad guys. In Batman Returns and Batman v Superman, scenes where Batman removes his mask, the makeup always magically disappears as well. After Kick-Ass, that's just unacceptable. Happy to see that Robert Pattinson's version of the character is canonically wearing makeup. I'm happy to see that too. Plus, we get some sweet emo Crow vibes, and I'm all about it.
I'm unreasonably excited for that movie.
And I'm hoping.
Know why.
High hopes. I like Robert Pattinson a lot, dude.
Hopes.
Yeah, he's great.
High hopes.
Cosmopolis.
High hopes.
Hey Man, Nice Shots has a few best performances here. Kiss of Death, another underrated and too unknown hidden gem. I haven't seen this one. Great cast: David Caruso, Nick Cage, Samuel L. Jackson, Helen Hunt, Ving Rhames, and Michael Rappaport.
Wait, Kiss of Death.
Yeah, Cage.
Dude, this is bringing me back. I need to look this movie up. This is bringing me way back.
Cage isn't the lead in this, but it's probably his most badass I've ever seen him. Honestly, he's a complete beast here. Apparently, there's a scene where he bench presses a young woman.
No, I haven't seen this. I don't think.
You're so excited.
I was excited. I thought it was something else.
You thinking of Sexy Beast because he's not in that?
No, dude. Sexy Beast rules though.
Yeah, Sexy Beast is good. It's also like 80 minutes long. Like what?
Yeah.
Bringing Out the Dead, underrated and way too unknown by the larger public. Scorsese and Cage, come on. 8mm is a really dark, very disturbing movie that Cage carries brilliantly.
No.
As we've already covered, though, fuck 8mm.
Yeah.
Conrad from Sweden says, I haven't seen it in years, but my gut feeling says Sailor Ripley and Wild at Heart. Need to watch it again, but I remember really liking Cage in it. Wild at Heart I've seen most of, but not at the same time, and I feel bad about that because everything about that movie seems like I should love it, so I need to just sit and watch it. Yeah. I think Matthew Walden may or may not have a Wild at Heart tattoo. Tell us later if you do, Matthew Walden.
That sounds about right.
I know he loves that. All right, and then I asked, is there such a bad... Well, what do you guys think is the best Nick Cage performance, first of all, personally? Is it adaptation?
I mean, objectively, I believe it's probably adaptation. It's not my favorite role he's done, but I think acting-wise, I think just doing twins that are so radically different and like being believable, and one of them doesn't even really exist in real life. So there's no like basis to the character portraying a real person and his fictional twin.
The fictional twin almost did win an Oscar in real life, though.
I know. Man, like, it's such a great performance. I think, like, honestly, between that and acting wise, I'd have to go with that probably. Yeah.
For me, Leaving Las Vegas. It's just my favorite kind of movie. When like
where someone drinks themselves to death on purpose.
Just like a character study, so bleak, so just a depressing ass movie. I'm all about it. I love that movie.
I'm surprised you said you hadn't seen it.
I've seen parts. I saw like a part of it when I was young, and I was like so turned off by how sad it was that I was like, well, I don't want to watch that movie.
Before your taste developed.
Before my taste had, I actually have a few weird experiences like that with Nick Cage, I guess, where I saw like a part of a thing and I was like, oh, that seems heavy. And then it just carried that feeling into adulthood and never watched it for whatever reason.
It's a very kind of, it's really sad, but it's also a great character study. And
totally.
Like,
he has a range in it, man. He's got such a range in that movie. It's not just one note self-destruction. It's like
Elizabeth Shue is the other person.
Yeah. There's like rising and falling, dude. It's
yes. The movie gives you a little hope, and then it shows you like what the consequences of that hope are, and then it's like in not a great way, but like if you're planning on just completely giving up on life, like that's the thing. Like, sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes things happen in the way that like you wish it didn't happen, that make your life or your attempt to not live in life harder, and then you succeed, and that's the sadness. Like it's the gut punch right there.
Damn.
That doesn't make any sense if you haven't seen the movie, I guess, but like I don't want to spoil it or anything because you should watch it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would like to contact Ty Cobb. Just that line from Bogus Journey is so weird. I love it. Is there such a thing as a bad Nicolas Cage performance?
Dude, I'm not all about the Wicker Man at all. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's absurd and a terrible
So
movie.
boring. So
the
boring.
choices made in that movie are baffling to me at some
It's
times.
so boring, dude.
Who directed? Is that Neil LaBute? Neil LaBute, so weird. He was responsible for like a couple of decent theater things and then just all garbage. And in The Company of Men, I remember like in college, but it probably sucks. Also, he's apparently an asshole in real life.
The original Wicker Man is fantastic.
The original Wicker Man is so good.
Nobody will ever badmouth that in my presence or be burned to life inside a real Wicker Man. The remake, this movie, I don't know if it's even a remake. It's a movie that's.
I've seen it. Although I accidentally watched the theatrical version, which doesn't have the bees scene in it. And that was the whole damn reason we watched it. I'm pissed to this day.
I will tell you though that this movie, like much like you with Bring Out the Dead, this movie makes me laugh. It's to me, I view this as a comedy, and it's very much not supposed to be a comedy movie.
It's a comedy. Like, it's a so good it's bad.
Everybody,
so bad it's good.
So bad it's bad. I can't stand it.
Like all of the actors in this movie are doing Nick Cage, and it, like just the like doing such like unrealistic like portrayals of humanity, or like things that nobody would say like in real life. Like every single person in this movie does that, and for me that's like amusing. So I laugh a lot at this movie when I'm feeling like sad or whatever. I will go watch movies.
Cue up the Wicker Man.
Yeah.
Well, you can find really good compilations on YouTube of all the funny Nicolas Cage moments, and that for me scratches the itch.
And I've definitely done that before. Him
in a bear costume punching a bunch of women and like holding a corpse on a dock, and the camera snap zooms, and then he notices it, and he's just like,
My favorite moment in this movie, bar none, and I have no reason or explanation for it. He's like walking up this trail, and he meets three women with a sack that's wriggling, like like audition style. Like there's something in it that you don't, it's like, oh God, what is? He goes, what's in the bag? A shark or something? And then walks off, and there's no context for that. Nothing has ever said about it again. I was like, what's in the bag? A shark or something? Like what? What happened there? Like that line is stuck in my head for years, and I have no reason to like. I don't know why. That's the moment of that movie. Like that movie became like a comedy to me, and I was like, this is it. This is the funniest movie I've seen.
The general consensus to answer if there is such a thing as a bad Nicolas Cage performance was most people say not really, because he brings such an interesting energy to everything that he's always entertaining to watch. That's kind of my theory.
Ghost Rider.
I do think you don't like Ghost Rider? I never watched it, but for some reason my mom really liked it. I remember, so
Chill.
It has its moments. The ending of it is.
I'm sure it's pretty schlocky. But I never saw Left Behind, but I assume it's bad. Someone brought that one up and said Ken Lutz said there are when he's trying to pay off the IRS, like Left Behind and stuff, probably
That's
pretty
kind of
bad.
what I'd say is like a movie in which Nicolas Cage doesn't want to be there.
Yeah,
like there are a couple of those where you can tell he's just like, I'm doing this because I have to. He still gives it, he gives it something, but he's not giving it everything. And
I think he's always professional, but yeah. Tyler Travis literally says, I think identical to what you said earlier, Huber. Tyler Travis literally said, seriously, fuck 8mm.
Yes.
Which I think is exactly what you said.
Yep. Can't watch it. Won't watch it. Get it away.
Okay. I have some interesting facts about Nick Cage here. Varun Kachwaha says, fun fact, not sure how well known this is. I knew this, but we'll see if you guys knew this. He's Coppola's nephew. Yep. He changed his name to separate himself.
Coppola.
Yep. Michelle Jackson, my mom was on the same flight as Nicolas Cage once in the early 90s. My mom ordered a fruit cup from the refreshment cart, which turned out to be the last one. Nick Cage was sitting across the aisle and also ordered a fruit cup. Apparently, he was very visibly disappointed to not be able to get a fruit cup, and my mom still feels bad about it. Source, my mom.
That's an SNL skit.
From Michelle Jackson. There. That is so funny. Just picturing him just like looking over at the fruit cup, just be like,
her just eating it slowly,
yeah, just looking at it,
slurping.
That is so funny.
Like knowing full well it's Nick Cage over there, and you're eating the last fruit cup is so great. It's such a great setup.
I was across the aisle on a plane from Tim Meadows one time, and he was reading a screenplay for a movie, and I wonder if that movie ever happened. I don't know. Tyler Travis brings up the time that Nicolas Cage wore a shirt with a picture of his own face on it. And the image, he's also wearing a black cowboy hat, giant aviators, a bunch of bead necklaces, a purple blazer, a giant bracelet, and chaps, apparently.
Embracing.
Just full Nicolas Cage. Ken Lutz, he pulls inspiration from the oddest places. I could literally quote all of his iconic characters' video on GQ's YouTube channel, but I'll probably just say go watch it and be fascinated by what he says. I recommend that as well. That's a very good video. Zach Wojnar, he based his speech pattern in Kick-Ass on Adam West's Batman, who disguised his identity not by changing his voice, but by changing the way he spoke. And he played Superman and Spider-Man in the same year in Teen Titans Go or Teen Titans Go to the Movies and Into the Spider-Verse.
So awesome.
Which I did not.
Superman for a minute now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember back in the day he was doing the screen test for Superman. It looked ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Have you seen what is it, the Death and Rebirth of Superman, the documentary about that?
No.
That came out a couple years ago. It's worth a watch. That suit is not as ridiculous as it appears. Much like everything else clipped out Nicolas Cage wise, like that suit was actually going to be pretty cool. I think a lot of it is going to be, it's weird because that movie never happened, but like how close that movie came to happening is like super interesting. That was Tim Burton was going to direct him.
Yeah, wasn't going to tie in the other shit too.
Didn't Kevin Smith write it or something too?
Yeah, something like that. And like it was a fascinating watch. It completely changed my opinion of him in that suit. I think.
Nice.
I think he would have made a great Superman, which is weird to say because Nick Cage is not the person you think of, but like he was really into it, and I think their take on like Superman was a really kind of I guess more of like a cerebral, like interesting take on Superman than typically you would see. But
Superman not interesting in my estimation, typically.
Right, bringing like weird emotions into it, and like having him kind of like the whole like Tarantino diatribe on Clark Kent as Superman's view of what humans are, like weak and ineffectual and that kind of stuff. Is like kind of delving more into that and being a little trying to make it a little more interesting. Was
that movie was the progenitor of the famous Kevin Smith story about the executive producer who wanted to put a mechanical spider and everything, right?
I believe so.
Seek out that rant that Kevin Smith does. It's pretty funny. Keanu La'a says Nick Cage owns a 9-foot-tall pyramid in New Orleans under which he intends to be buried after he dies. He refuses to speak about his reasoning for the pyramid, but some rumors believe it's because he once bought a haunted mansion and believes himself to be cursed. And then there is a source from Atlas Obscura.
Sure. Awesome.
Yeah, sounds legit.
Sounds fucking cool, dude. If I could be buried under a pyramid.
Yeah, why not? You don't need a reason.
Resources? Yeah, dude. That's sick.
Serenity Now says, did you know he won China's Best Global Actor Award? A source, Time Magazine, 2013.
Whoa.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Tef says, an interesting fact, he spent New Year's Eve 2019 in a small pub in England. He bought rounds of drinks for people and became a member, which costs £10 per year. GBP is pounds, right? Yeah, Great Britain. Yeah. Hey man, nice shots. Apparently a stranger broke into his home one night. When Nick Cage woke up in the middle of the night, he saw a guy sitting naked in front of his bed wearing only Nick Cage's leather jacket and eating a fudge sickle.
That is so
No
freaky.
source for that one, so I don't know if that's
Holy
real or
shit.
not.
Sure. Wasn't
Taffy.
me. I have an
Yeah,
alibi.
it was none of us.
That's freaky.
Taffy says, fun fact, it was originally meant to be a raw egg that he eats in Vampire's Kiss, but Cage suggested the live cockroach as he considered it a business decision that would be equal to millions of dollars of special effects and shock factor.
He ate two of them.
Yeah, he wanted to.
Did the first one, and then he's like, did you get it? Let's do it again. He did it a second time.
I can't believe
God.
that. It sounds obnoxious. Sounds disgusting. Apparently he wanted to eat a live bat, but he settled for eating a cockroach.
Oh, God.
Ryan Ponder, pretty sure this is fairly well known, they say, but my friends and I went on a tour of New Orleans, and the tour guide kept talking about how much Nicolas Cage consulted and trusted voodoo practitioners prominent in the community there. A lot of his personal dealings seem to be based on their advice. I did not know that. That's interesting. I believe it. All right. Now, our own personal top 10s or 15s. Huber, you want to go first? What are your top 10
Sure.
Nicolas Cage movies?
10 upwards.
Yeah. Start at the worst best and go toward best.
Lord of War.
Huh?
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Wow.
Con Air.
Sure.
Bad Lieutenant.
Wow, really? I didn't expect that to make your top 10.
Yeah. Dude, freaking Herzog?
I mean, yeah, it's a crazy movie. I just
Herzog
thought,
joint?
but he's so gross in that movie.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
gross
that's the
movie.
point.
Yeah.
I don't know why Herzog made that movie.
National Treasure. Little low, I'm sorry. Little low.
That's all right. That's all right.
I probably should switch it with the next one. Face Off. Watched it like a couple years ago.
It doesn't hold up.
Nearly as good as I
It
remember.
does not hold up. It's pretty boring.
Whew.
But it is still fun to see two superstars of their day playing each other.
Yeah, that's what to me. I think like the worst part of that movie is watching John Travolta try to be Nick Cage.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah.
He didn't have the
I was
chops.
able to suspend my belief when I was younger, and like
Yeah.
it's like, man, they don't even have the same bone structure. Give me a break here. Come on.
They were both like such massive stars at the time. Though. It was just gimmick. It was the whole movie's just that gimmick. It's funny.
Adaptation.
Okay.
The Rock.
What number are we
Also-
on? What number are we on?
The Rock is number 3. Adaptation was 4.
My God. Okay.
The Rock should be also. Doesn't hold up, but I think of my bro all the time, man. I lived in San Francisco. Alcatraz is cool.
Did
Yeah.
you say Con Air already?
Yeah, Connor is number 8.
This is number 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2, kind of a cheat, but I don't give a shit. Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. And number 1, easily Leaving Las Vegas.
Okay. Not how I expected your list to go, Huber.
That was a little surprising every now and then.
Yeah. You want to go next, Tokyo Slim?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have 15. I tried to kill my babies as much as I could possibly.
15 is fine.
So
I went down his entire IMDb and wrote down the ones I liked as they came by, and it just happened to be 10 of them.
I started with 27. So 15 is I cut several out, and they will be noticeable. You'll be like, why isn't that on there? Well, let's cut
I should say I like more than just those 10, but the 10 I knew that would be on the
Definitely.
list. Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, you could say this is a top 10 with some honorable mentions.
Sure.
The Weatherman. I think that's one of those kind of like more understated Nick
Sleeper.
Cage performances. Yeah.
Sleeper hit.
Lord of War is next up on the list. I liked it a lot. I haven't rewatched it, but first impressions were really good with that movie. It was, not necessarily like during that period, like that was like Nick Cage had like a string of movies that were not great, and that was kind of like smack dab in the middle of them. So it was like he's back kind of moment for me. And Matchstick Men. Again, I've said a lot about that already. I think that more people should watch it. It's a fantastic movie. Con Air. I personally think Con Air is better than The Rock, but mostly it's titans fighting each other, right? It's mech versus kaiju. Like one or the other is going to win. I personally prefer Con Air. The Rock did not make my list. I think Con Air holds up better. I think that overall it's just kind of just a more entertaining movie as far as that goes. And that's it.
Like, what do you mean that's it? We've got like 12 more to go.
Yeah, so 12 more.
No, I mean like that's it as far as like me talking about Con Air versus
For Con Air. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Raising Arizona is next, and that's again, like Coen Brothers are not my favorites. I found that movie to be delightful. So there's that. I think that like if you only watched that movie, then and we're a Nicolas Cage fan from that movie, then that's acceptable to me. So I think his like him, especially like him and Holly Hunter in that movie were like, I don't know, that was like a time period for me, I guess.
Yeah.
That was like I think I was like 15 or 16 when I saw that movie the first time. I was like, wow, this is really good. And like, who are these people? And it made me want to watch more of their stuff. So I did. Red Rock West. Somebody, I don't think anybody else brought this up. Red Rock West is, to me, a genre film and a genre that I really, really love. It's kind of just like everybody sucks and is a bad guy, kind of dirty, corrupt, like pulpy, like Romeo's Bleeding or that kind of thing, where like everybody in this movie is kind of a shitbird. Stranger walks into town. He's a grifter. He's just looking to like steal some money or like con somebody or whatever. He's mistaken for a hitman that I think it's Dennis Hopper hires to kill his wife, who is Lara Flynn Boyle, if I'm remembering correctly. So he's confused for this hitman, and he's like offered this, he's like handed this like bunch of money or briefcase full of money or whatever. And he's like, yeah, my wife's going to be here at this point in time. Go ahead and offer, make it look like an accident or whatever. And like, there's kind of like this like weird like love triangle that happens, or emotional love triangle or whatever. He develops feelings for her. Does it work out? Does it not? It's a very pulpy kind of crime drama. I enjoy it a lot. So not many people talk about it. Then I got Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Leaving Las Vegas again. Won an Oscar for it. What are you going to do? Like, it was a great performance. Honestly, even Elizabeth Shue had a good performance. Elizabeth Shue had a great performance in this movie as well. Known mostly for playing scientists in various movies.
Yeah.
And also the Karate Kid's girlfriend.
And the boys, dude.
And the boys, yeah.
Season 2, I'm already missing her, man.
Haven't seen it yet.
Phenomenal.
But yeah, fantastic movie. Valley Girl. Probably hasn't aged great. I still think that as far as like, kind of teen romance movies goes, like it's one of the better ones. I don't know. I really enjoy like the one-liners. Is this movie in 3D? No, but your face is. And also, it kind of like made me fall in love with LA a little bit. Like, I don't live there. I've visited several times, but like the 80s in LA, the whole like kind of underground music scene in LA versus like kind of the valley, like the what's the word I'm looking for?
Hellscape?
Hellscape. Yes, the Hellscape of the Valley in the 80s, I guess.
Yep.
It was all like neon and like it kind of looked like Vegas, like parts of it, I guess, were, like very suburban, and like Nick Cage is like this kind of punk, like dirty youth kind of guy. And I love that, like the whole like Romeo and Juliet aspects of that movie. Moonstruck, again, just rewatched it. Fantastic film. Deserved the Oscar. Cher deserved the Oscar. Nick Cage also deserved to be nominated for an Oscar for that movie and did not get it. And bitter, stuck to me. After I watched it, I was like, that was fantastic. Mandy, great. It's a great movie. Watch it.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It like when you said you're watching it for October, it's not a horror movie. It's a rage movie.
Yeah.
It's like they're cousins, but they're not, like, it's not
Totally.
Not completely simpatico there.
God, Mandy's so bonkers. I love Mandy.
National Treasure. I prefer 1 over 2.
Yeah.
I didn't put them both on my list, but they're both fantastic, excellent films.
What number did it make?
That
was
is 5.
Okay. That's fair.
Also, Jon Voight, as much as kind of a weird, crotchety old bastard as that guy is, also pretty good in that movie.
Yeah.
Adaptation is number 4. Again, fantastic film. The closest Nick Cage has really come to like being, like 2 different people at the same time, I guess. I don't know what to say about it. It's a good movie. Watch it. Wild at Heart, number 3. Sailor and his jacket, represent personal freedom. So that's, you don't get any better than that. Except for the top 2.
Yeah, I was like, you do get 2 better.
Then there's 2 better. Vampire's Kiss, which is number 2. I find that movie endlessly fascinating, and not just the film itself, the making of I sent like maybe a year ago, I sent you an article written.
I read it. Yeah.
I think maybe by the guy who wrote that or whatever. And it was like all about his breakup with his wife, and like how weird it was to get made, and like the fact that they still co-produced the movie together even after they separated, and Nick Cage wanting yogurt spread on his toes or whatever during the scene because he couldn't like, he wasn't attracted to Jennifer Beals or whoever the actress was. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but like, yeah, he sending his assistant to the park to grab a bat, just
yeah,
so many weird
stuff.
Like out of control like rumors and like speculation and things that probably happened in real life. Like, who knows? Just that whole experimentation of like, what is acting? How can I push forward the genre of acting in different ways than realism and method acting? How can I reincorporate, old forms of acting and performance, like German expressionism and kabuki theater, and whatever else he called all that from into a movie. It's endlessly fascinating to me, and I love it a lot. I've seen it theatrically, which is something not many people can say. So,
yeah,
seen it theatrically. Number 1, probably a surprise to many people. I don't know. Bad Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans.
Wow.
One. And it didn't used to be. And 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now, it was 11 years ago now, it came out, and I saw it theatrically. And that movie confused me. And I was wondering what it was about. I didn't really understand the point of the movie or what it was trying to say. It is a conglomeration of 2 things I love in life dearly: Nicolas Cage and Werner Herzog collaborating together. And this is the thing: is I did a retrospective last year on this film. 10 years ago, I rewatched it and I wrote down my thoughts as to what had changed. And I grew into this movie. the movie itself was fantastic. It hadn't changed at all, and what it was saying was equally as important now as it was 11 years ago. And I'm just going to read a brief excerpt from what I wrote down. Protocol New Orleans is a funhouse mirror in which Herzog and Cage examine the policing of a populace with power. Power corrupts, and in real life, many times the corrupt are not punished. Karmic retribution either doesn't really exist or isn't applied fairly at all. This film's ending, which is controversial. Many people hate the ending of that movie. May seem like a fairy tale where all of a sudden things work out, and Cage's character McDonough not only gets away with everything he's done, he's rewarded for it. But that's not a fairy tale. It happens all the time, every day, when police officers get away with crimes they're committing in the name of policing and in the name of power and stuff. That's the most realistic part of this movie, is the fact that everything works out in the end, out of the blue, all of a sudden, and the entire system is protecting this corrupt cop. And it's not just one corrupt cop in this film. The whole department is literally either corrupt or abetting corruption through ambivalence. And that's the whole point of that movie. And Werner Herzog had that 11 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what he was saying until recently. And that's why I think personally, it was like, I had like an epiphany while watching this movie. It's like, that's what this is about. Like the very first scene is Nick Cage and Val Kilmer in a locker room talking about like all the side hustles they're running, and like how this other guy whose locker they're raiding during the flood of Hurricane Katrina, they're like, well, he can't afford that Cadillac he's rolling around, and wonder what he's got going on. Like all of them have their like little sticky little fingers in these various like, side hustles and corruption and whatever. And like, that's the point of this movie, is like, you give these people this power to both police you and to cover up crimes, and they're going to do both of those things. Like they're going to be authority figures who also have the authority to be corrupt.
Yeah.
So that's why I put it number one for me, is like, it's a really impactful film for me. And also I love Werner Herzog so much.
Yeah.
Almost so much as I love Nick Cage. I think both of them are really incredibly insightful filmmakers and actors, because Werner Herzog also does acting. It's just kind of a best of both worlds kind of deal for me. I really love that movie.
Man, you're making me wish I'd put it on my list.
Hey, it's never too late. Like I said, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, wouldn't have been on my list.
Yeah.
It's now.
I'll have to rewatch it, because I remember being very disturbed when I saw it in theaters. But I mean, that's the point.
But it's a disturbing movie. And
I love how movies change just over time with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different parts of movies that you love or dislike more, and it's awesome.
Absolutely. My top 10. Now I'm thinking Protocol should be on here, but The Rock, number 10, just because it's got some good quotes in it, but maybe Bad Lieutenant would go here instead. Then 9 is Con Air. I also think Con Air is better than The Rock. Then number 8, National Treasure Book of Secrets. Not great, but fun. Number 7, Matchstick Men. Really good con artist movie. Number 6, Mandy. Phenomenal wackadoo movie. Number 5, Vampire's Kiss, for all the reasons we've talked about. Number 4, Raising Arizona. It would probably be higher, but it makes me sad, so it's number 4. Number 3, National Treasure. Number 2, again, kind of feels like cheating, but it's just such a good movie, and he's in it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Count it.
Yeah, also my number 2. And then number 1 for me is Adaptation, because that movie is just like bananas great.
Hell yeah.
Okay, then just some final things here. Spencer from Canada
would have made my list, but I disqualified it because he's not the star of the movie. So
I thought about doing the same. But then
it
I
is
just
a fantastic film.
Spencer from Canada says that they owe an apology to you, Huber. They failed in completing their favorite movies of the decade list, and Pacific Rim is on it. They say, you trusted me, and I failed. We mentioned the Pachinko commercials. They're hilarious. Find them.
I posted them in the comments.
that was a note from myself make sure we mention the pachinko commercials. But yeah, search them. They're incredible. Colt Smith says, I love watching just any Nicolas Cage film to see which Nicolas Cage showed up for that particular film. Bort said, I thought this was so funny. I once played a tabletop role-playing game in the feng shui system where every character was a role Nicolas Cage played at one point or another in their career. The Sorcerer's Apprentice Cage wielded magic, the Ghost Rider Cage was their tank, Face-Off Cage was their wild card, and the Gone in 60 Seconds Cage was their rogue. I think we had to fight an evil organization of John Travolta's. Very funny. Conrad from Sweden says, I also sometimes think back to the 90s where he was a legit Hugh Jackson star thanks to Rock and Con Air. It's weird today to think that his name was once a guarantee for blockbuster level quality. When do you think that changed and why? For all his antics, he does not strike me as a legit crazy person. Eccentric for sure, aloof, yes, but not insane in the way that he's often described. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. To me, he's a sure thing every time. I'll go see a Nicolas Cage movie any day. But yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know why the world turned their back on China's best actor in the world.
I think
Nicolas
a lot
Cage.
of it has to do with the nature of big action movies also changing. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all realism now. Yeah.
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 It's all gun fu now.
Gun kata. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Cage is not your gritty, like muscle bound kind of guy. He's the thinking man's action star.
Yeah. Targray says, what is your favorite Nicolas Cage style aesthetically? Goofy or cool looking? Which of his appearances do you like the most? Beard, no beard, burning skull, ill-fitting suits, or tank tops? Or the aforementioned Con hair, sorry. Very funny.
The Priest in Face Off is the best.
Priest in Face Off, very funny. That one shot, the Con hair when he comes out with the tank top off of that bus or plane or whatever, next level stuff is bonkers. But he looks amazing in Mandy. All Cage is good Cage, man.
Yeah.
I love the showing up to a interview panel Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah.
Where he's just like wearing like 3 different outfits at the same time.
At the same time.
That's my Nicolas Cage right there.
Yeah. Yeah, real life Nicolas Cage weirdly more absurdly dressed than any of his characters. Morgan Mahala says, I do love running jokes. Can we ask Huber what it will take for him to watch the next episode of Patriot? If not, I suppose it's time to retire the hope. I do appreciate the initial discussions of Patriot
tier.
Yeah.
As it's a wonderful show. Yeah.
I don't watch anything by myself anymore. Like if I watch something, it's usually with my wife and we have like our own queue together.
So she's to blame.
Throw her under the bus. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like nigh impossible for me to watch a show on my own nowadays. It's rarely happens. I started Avatar: The Last Airbender like months ago. It's a good one. 20-minute episodes. I'm still only on episode 10. Like I can't even finish. Maybe
here where we can, once we're back in the studio someday, we can do a thing where we like watch Patriot and make commentaries for all of them.
That'd be so
the way to do it is just to watch like one random episode of just a show, like not like in sequence or anything. It's like episode 5 of The Patriot or whatever, and then just comment and like make up your own lore. That's the way to do it.
Morgan Mahala also made a game for us, the Nick Cage game. I will list a project, and you only need to decide if it's an upcoming Nicolas Cage project or not. The ones that don't involve Nicolas Cage will be from David Cage, no relation, and Nick Jonas, also no relation. First one is Untitled Joe Exotic Project. Is that Nick Cage, David Cage, or Nick Jonas? Yeah, that's Nick Cage, I know, for sure.
I saw that a while ago. Not the movie, but like that it was happening.
Next up is The Dark Sorcerer.
David Cage.
Correct. Next up is Chaos Walking.
Nick Jonas.
Wow, yep.
You retired.
Next one is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Nick Cage.
Nicolas Cage. That's the movie about himself?
Dude,
right?
that's
He plays himself,
high.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
I feel like Charlie Kaufman
Omnicron.
should direct that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Who's directing that movie?
I don't know.
Look it up.
Omicron, the Nomad Soul.
David Cage.
Correct. 6, Ugly Dolls.
Nick Jonas.
Correct. We're aces so far. The Blacksmith.
This one, dude.
It's not Nick Cage.
David Cage.
Nick Jonas.
Damn it, Jonas.
Nick Jonas.
That
They
was my
tripped
gut,
you up.
too. I went against my gut.
And Wally's Wonderland.
That's Nick Cage.
I don't think it is. I'm going to say
Gotta be Nick Cage.
Jonas.
It's Nick Cage. I don't know what it is, but it's a Nicolas Cage upcoming project. And that will do it for this week's, month's, year's reaction shots about Nick Cage. Patreon.com/EasyAllies. We have a tier, 2 tiers involved in this show. For $7 and up, you can join the Easy Allies Film Club, where you get to put in for those discussions. Really great discussions happen there, and that's where I pull all these comments from. And you also can see our sometimes updated favorite film lists. And there are a few other little treats, like we did a couple of commentaries back in the day. Maybe sometime we'll do another one of those. And then another tier that is involved in this show is the shoutouts tier, our top tier on Patreon. This month, our shoutouts are L. Thanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Caleb Togi Crawford, Jeff 0VGM Easton. Shout out. Thank you.
Shout out.
Nicolas Cage shouts out to you. Wait, hold that thing up again. His mouth is so weird because it's like, yeah, it's got like teeth on the sides.
So yes, it was a dotted line, and I cut it out.
Oh, okay.
So free.
And it has googly eyes.
It does have googly eyes. And
Did you make that for this, or did you already
I
have
made
that?
this for
Oh, my internet died.
releases that I saw.
Wait, start over. My internet died.
Sorry. I made this for a 12-hour Nicolas Cage marathon that I attended at some point, like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, something like that.
In the before times.
In the before times when movie theaters were safe.
Yeah.
There was like just back-to-back Nick Cage movies all day. And some people bought tickets for like 1 or 2 of the movies. And I was like, why would you do that? Why bother? Like, I want all 12 hours of Nick Cage. And I got it. And
wow.
This was one of the things that was there available for, crafting or whatever.
That's so funny.
I wore my blanket to it. Some people dressed up in costumes and stuff.
The blanket behind you.
Yes.
So good.
It was great, and I wanted more of it. And unfortunately, it was a one-off. It only happened that one time.
Yeah, I would think about going to something like that. That'd be fun. Well. Thank you both very much. Thank you all for listening or watching, and we will see you next month for another exciting reaction shots.
Bye.
Bye.
Ha! You call yourself a psychiatrist?